Some of us spend our time playing new releases, or whatever games are in the charts. I, on the other hand, prefer the finer things in life. A great game is like fine wine and gets better with age. But like a fine wine, sometimes these commodities hold significant value. You may not be able to afford thousands of classic games, but I certainly can. So I am here to educate you and share with you my experiences with some of the best games of all time. Last week, Euro 2016 officially finished, when the irresistible force of Portugal beat the irremovable object of France in what will go down in history as a match that happened. Now we eagerly await the start of a new football season. Who will win between Rochdale and Port Vale? What about when the Giants, Everton, play the Titans, Southampton, making them both seem normal size? See Reading play against QPR to see who will win that. Watch all of the constantly happening football. It's impossible to keep up with all the football, but for your best chances you must watch as much as possible. Thousands and thousands of hours of football, each minute apparently better than the next. Constant, dizzying, 24-hour, endless, year-long football. Every single kick allegedly mattering to somebody, somewhere, presumably. You must watch it all the time. It will never stop. Football is officially going on forever. There is everything to play for and forever to play it in. It will never be finally decided who has won the football. Watch the football. It's gonna move. Watch the football. It's football! Football, eh? What a crazy sport. A subject I have such strong mixed feelings about. I'd not even know where to start. Football. It's just endless. It will never stop. I love football, I really do. But surely too much of anything is enough to make anyone sick. I could go on all day about what I love and what I hate about the beautiful game. But since this is a gaming channel, I'm going to keep today's video fairly gaming centric. Modern football games really annoy me. There is a choice of a mere two brands, Konami's Pro Evolution Soccer and EA's FIFA. With a severe lack of competition, the evolution and development of this genre is now all but completely dead. Every year there is a FIFA game released, which is always pretty much identical to the year before. The changes are so small that if they were regular Nintendo games, for example, you would probably get a free system update instead. But being the greedy cash cows that is EA and that is football, fans continue to pay the full £50 for the same game year in and year out. With such minor changes, it got me thinking, why do fans not just keep an older version of the game, then upgrade once every 5 years when the changes are noticeable? Well, after speaking to a few fans of the game, they informed me that after a couple of years, EA shut down their servers on the older games, and with all their friends migrating over to the newest version, they can only play their stupid friends online if they upgrade anyway. This is the very reason why most modern day sports games absolutely disgust me, because essentially the fan base is cornered into paying £50 year in year out for exactly the same game. I mainly buy retro games, which seems to be doubling in value these days. These sports games, on the other hand, cost £50 a pop, and after a couple of years, they're worth a mere 50p each. People are literally burning their money on these titles. However, it has not always been like this. The football genre used to be fantastic. There was so much choice, from sensible soccer to ISS, from actual soccer to kickoff, from Ronaldo soccer to Ryan Giggs. There was always deep choice within the genre. You would never be forced into repetitively buying the same brand over and over again. I too would get a football game yearly as a child, but never in my wildest imagination would I have bought the same series back to back, like people seem to actively do now. 1 year I would buy a kickoff, then the next year I'd buy a virtual striker, maybe I'd buy an ISS, then later I'd buy a FIFA. The only reason FIFA went on to become the dominant game within the football genre was because FIFA went on to be the ones to acquire the rights to the players' real names. So instead of playing as David Beckham, you'd get to play as David Beckham. Ridiculous really that something so trivial won the football gaming war. As I have expressed, there was a lot of variation back then. but I fondly remember one game in particular standing out amongst the genre, and that was Nintendo World Cup. Obviously this is a football game in which you get to play as a nation trying to win the World Cup. You get the choice to play as all the big footballing nations and even the USA for marketing purposes, since the NES sold so well in that region. Whilst not an accurate depiction of the sport, the game is great fun. The simplicity of the game is fantastic with the NES's limited controls. You use one button for passing and the other for shooting, and as you get close to an opposing player, you can also tackle them. Tackling the opposing team is a lovely sensory experience, because for some fantastic reason, they decided to leave rules out of the game. You can tackle them with a simple tap of the A button and waste your opponents. If you continue to tackle the same player over and over again, they will eventually just end up laying there completely motionless in the middle of the field. So to excuse the pun, one could say tackling in this game is the killer app? No one? Just me? Okay. The feeling of victory with your opponent lying legally dead on the field is absolutely euphoric. The players will stay dead until either you or your opponent scores a goal. After this, everyone is sadly, miraculously healed. But with a few kicks, you can send your opponent once again flying through the air and thudding into the ground. Yeah, this game never gets boring. The game starts out fairly easy, and whereas in most scores in football are fairly boring, like 1-0 or 2-all, in the early stages of this game, if you are good at it, you can actually batter your opponents and win like 40-0. The pace of this game is fantastic. All the music in this game is fairly catchy and up there with some of the best NES game music. You also get nice little introduction videos for every team, which is interesting and gives the game a little bit more variation. The graphics are easily passable. They are far from perfect, but they are as good as it gets really for the NES. It could have been funny though if they put a little bit more detail into the maimed limp bodies on the floor of the field. Like with the modern FIFA games, it is worth talking about this game's multiplayer. This is one of the best games you can play with others. You can play on the same team, like in the single player mode, and play the game cooperatively, or decide to play against each other. It is also notable that the game features a host of different playfields in which innovatively affect how you play the game. Some of these fields are covered in rocks and obstacles, which act as trip hazards, where other fields are covered in ice, which you can slide on. Something what I would also like to point out, in which I never found out about until I grew up, is that the game seems to have been built out of the NES beat-em-up Street Gangs, which would explain why the tackling is so violent. If you play Street Gangs, aka River City Ransom in the USA, you will notice even the sprites look the same. It is hilarious really how such a lazy development move has appeared to have produced such a fun game. To summarise, this game is great whether it's the first, second, third, fourth or even 1000th time you've played it. It's jolly good fun scoring hundreds of goals, and on top of that getting to viciously hack down other players' legs. I would choose this game over FIFA any day of the week. Cheerio! Go! Yes, 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 go! That was a go! Striker! Eat that! And another! Stick it in! Thank you and good night! Twat! That was liquid football! Shit! Did you see that? He must have a foot like a traction engine! The proof is in the pudding, and in this case, the pudding is a football. Boom! Eat my goal. And the goalie has got football pie all over his shirt. You've kicked the bloody ball into manure. Go get it. I hate manure. So for the shots where I'm talking to people like, hey, why'd you do that for? Bloody idiot.